The butter in your refrigerator right now came from a cow. What that cow was fed, what was done to the milk, and whether the label reflects any of it is a conversation the dairy industry has never wanted to have with you. Here's the number that should stop you cold. The United States has no federal standard requiring butter to come from grass-fed cows, no standard prohibiting synthetic hormones, no requirement that the word natural means anything verifiable at all. It's one of the most trusted foods in your kitchen and one of the least regulated. My name is Dan Miller, and I've been buying groceries for this household since 1987. I thought I knew which brands to trust. Last week, I sent 10 of the most purchased butter brands in America to an independent laboratory. The results found elevated oxidized lipids in commercially processed butters, synthetic hormones in products sold as pure dairy, and supply chains so opaque the cow producing the cream can't be traced. In several cases, the same industrial dairy system that produces factory-farmed milk was selling it under labels designed to look like a Vermont hillside farm. 10 brands. 4 are actually safe. The most alarming one is first. Number 1, Land O'Lakes, the lake. The imagery that has stood for wholesome American dairy farming for over 100 years. Land O'Lakes is the largest butter brand by volume in the United States. It's the one your mother bought, the one on the table at Thanksgiving, the one that felt less like a choice and more like a fixture. When a brand is that embedded in the American kitchen, questioning it feels almost unreasonable, but the questioning is exactly what's needed. Land O'Lakes is a farmer-owned cooperative, and that structure is real. Here's what it doesn't guarantee: how those 1,600 member farms actually operate, or whether the sourcing is RBGH-free. RBGH is a synthetic hormone injected into dairy cows to increase milk production. Canada banned it. The European Union banned it. Australia and Japan banned it. The FDA permits it and doesn't require disclosure on the label. Land O'Lakes doesn't prohibit RBGH use across its member farm base. Then there's the processing. The butter is ultra-pasteurized, which extends shelf life but also degrades the phospholipid structure of the milk fat and reduces the bioavailability of fat-soluble vitamins. The yellow packaging communicates freshness. The processing line communicates shelf stability. Those aren't the same thing. Diabetics who switched from margarine to butter specifically for its natural fat profile are getting an ultra-pasteurized industrial product. The cooperative is real, but its membership rules quietly permit things the packaging never mentions. Before we go further, do this right now. Go to your refrigerator, take out your butter, and look at the color. Pale yellow means grain-fed cows. Deep gold means grass, and that color is beta-carotene from pasture. It can't be faked at scale, and it can't be added without disclosure. The color of your butter is the whole sourcing story in one look. If the block in your hand is pale, keep watching, because every brand on this list is about to explain why. Number 2, Cabot Creamery. You know this one, the cooperative story, the Vermont and New York dairy farmers, the brand that built its identity around supporting the small American dairy farmer. Real people, real farms, real community. The cooperative structure isn't fiction. What it doesn't guarantee is how those member farms operate. Cabot's co-op membership includes farms that use recombinant bovine growth hormone, RBGH, the same synthetic hormone injected to increase milk output. Canada banned it. The EU banned it. Australia and Japan banned it. The FDA permits it and doesn't require it on the label. Cabot doesn't prohibit RBGH use across all of its member farms. The Vermont hillside imagery on the packaging communicates a standard the cooperative's own membership rules don't enforce. For the pregnant woman managing a hormone-sensitive condition who chose Cabot because the farm story implied clean sourcing, or the family feeding growing children who assumed cooperative meant careful, the co-op is real, but the hormone question was never answered. Number 3, great value. Butter Walmart didn't milk this cow. Walmart doesn't have dairy farms, and it doesn't have pasteurization facilities. What Walmart has is contracts, and those contracts rotate based on price. The manufacturer, producing great value butter. This quarter may not be the one producing it next quarter. The label stays identical while the facility changes and the sourcing changes with it. The testing standards of whoever won the contract that quarter become the standards of the butter you're spreading on your child's toast. No disclosed sourcing, no published testing, no named dairy, no RBGH-free verification, no grass-fed claim, not even a partial one. It's the lowest cost per unit in the dairy aisle, achieved by removing every quality standard that costs money to maintain. For the senior on a fixed income buying great value because it looks identical to Land O'Lakes and the saving matters, the saving is real. What it represents isn't a deal though, it's an unknown, and you're eating it every morning. Number 4, Challenge Butter. The name implies something. A challenge met, a standard cleared, a brand that earned its place by outperforming something else. Challenge. Butter has been in American kitchens since 1911, with the foil wrapper, the familiar yellow, and a price that sits just above store brand and just below premium. Not the cheapest, not the most expensive, the one that feels like a reasonable, informed choice. Challenge Dairy is owned by Dairy Farmers of America. DFA is the largest dairy cooperative in the United States, with over 11,500 member farms and nearly 30% of all milk in America. When you buy Challenge Butter, you're buying from the corporate center of industrial America American Dairy. DFA has faced regulatory scrutiny and antitrust investigation over its pricing and market consolidation practices. There's no RBGH disclosure, no grass-fed claim, and no country of origin for the cream. The 1911 founding date implies over a century of quality, but it says nothing verifiable about what's happening in the current production run. 114 years of heritage and zero published testing are both true at the same time. Subscribe right now. We investigate what the label isn't telling you every week. 2 more brands on the avoid list, then the 4 worth buying. Number 5. Brahms. This one is regional. If you're in Oklahoma, Texas, Kansas, Missouri, or Arkansas, you know Brahms, the farm-to-store promise, the company that owns its own dairy farms and its own retail stores. That vertical integration is positioned as proof of quality that mass-market brands can't offer. And Brahms isn't a conglomerate. It's a family business, and the vertical integration is real. Here's what it doesn't guarantee. Grass-fed dairy. Brahms cows are grain supplemented, not grass-fed. The farm fresh positioning is a freshness claim, not a feed claim. And those are 2 separate conversations that Brahms blends together through imagery and branding without making a verifiable distinction on the label. For the Texas family buying Brahms because the farm-to-store story felt like a departure from industrial dairy, the supply chain is shorter, but the cows still aren't eating grass. The premium paid for regional integrity bought proximity, not nutritional superiority. The farm is real, even though the grass-fed butter isn't. Number 6. Bunge. You probably don't know this name, and that's the point. Bunge doesn't need you to know it. Bunge is one of the largest agribusiness and food ingredient corporations on Earth with $67 billion in annual revenue and operations in over 40 countries. They process commodities at industrial scale and supply them to the brands whose names you do trust. The butter going into commercial baking products, restaurant supply chains, and institutional food service often starts here before it ever reaches the brand whose name appears on your table. When the actual producer of a food has no consumer-facing identity, there's no reputation at stake if quality drops. No loyal customer base notices when something changes, and no grandmother who's been buying it for 50 years is there to catch it. The anonymity is the business model. Industrial dairy supply chains optimized for margin and volume are exactly where the oxidation concerns in commercially processed butter live. And Bunge is where the chain starts, well out of sight of the family at the end of it. Now the 4 that held up safe. Pick 1. Kerrygold Irish cows. 97% grass-fed, over 300 days a year on pasture. That isn't a marketing claim so much as a function of Irish climate and land management. Rotational grazing is the economic baseline of Irish dairy farming, not a premium add-on. Grass-fed dairy is higher in conjugated linoleic acid, higher in omega-3 fatty acids, and higher in fat-soluble vitamins including K2, and that nutritional difference is documented and replicated rather than disputed in the peer-reviewed literature. Kerrygold doesn't use RBGH because the EU bans it entirely. The prohibition is structural, not voluntary, and no brand within the EU supply chain can use it regardless of what the marketing says. The deep yellow color of Kerrygold butter isn't dye. It's beta-carotene from grass. Hold a block of Kerrygold next to the butter you just pulled from your refrigerator and look at the color difference. That difference is the feed difference made visible. It's available at most major grocery retailers nationwide, and it costs more. That cost is the grass, the CLA, the omega-3s, and a regulatory framework that actually banned what the American dairy industry voluntarily permits. You're not paying for branding. You're paying for what's actually inside the wrapper. Safe pick 2. Vital Farms. Every carton names the farm, not a cooperative network of 1,600 facilities, but a specific named farm, one you can look up. Vital Farms holds each farm to a published standard. RBG. H prohibited, confinement feeding prohibited, and a minimum of outdoor pasture access required. The pasture-raised certification is third-party verified, not self-reported, and not a cooperative policy member farms can opt around. It's third-party audited and publicly documented. The fat profile reflects it, and the certification backs it up. For the pregnant woman who made a deliberate decision to avoid synthetic hormones, the cancer patient managing an estrogen-sensitive condition who needed a butter brand that could verify what it was telling them, or the parents who wanted the butter going into their children's food checked by someone other than the company selling it. This is the one that answers. Vital Farms costs more than every brand on the avoid list, and the farm name on the carton earns every cent. Safe pick 3. Miller's Biofarm. This is the one that goes further than any brand on this list. Miller's Biofarm is certified biodynamic, certified organic, and 100% grass-fed, based in Pennsylvania. Biodynamic certification is the most rigorous agricultural standard available in the United States, covering soil health, animal welfare, and farming practice at a level USDA organic doesn't reach. The cows are grass-fed year-round, with no synthetic inputs, no RBGH, no grain supplementation, and no industrial processing. The butter is churned from cream that hasn't been ultra-pasteurized, so the CLA levels, the omega-3 profile, and the fat-soluble vitamins are all intact, because nothing in the production process destroyed them first. Miller's isn't in every grocery grocery store. It's available directly and through specialty retailers, and it costs more than Kerrygold, as it should. For the family that decided the butter question mattered enough to answer completely, this is the complete answer. Safe pick 4. Fourth and heart ghee is clarified butter with the milk solids removed, and that removal matters. The milk protein and lactose that cause reactions in sensitive people are gone. Fourth and heart sources from New Zealand grass-fed cows on a pasture-based dairy standard with no synthetic additives and no fillers. It's third-party tested and certified glyphosate-free across the entire product line. For the lactose-sensitive family member who assumed they had to give up butter, the person who kept reacting to conventional butter and never connected it to the milk protein content, or anyone who wants the cooking stability of clarified butter without the sourcing opacity of commercial ghee products that never name their dairy source, this is the option. It's available at Whole Foods, Target, and online, and it answers the question every other ghee product in the aisle refuses to address. Go to your refrigerator right now and pull out the butter. Look at the color first. If it's pale yellow, that's your answer before you even flip the wrapper. Then flip it and look for the grass-fed claim, the RBGH-free verification, and the third-party certification. If none of those are there, you know what's in the wrapper and you know what isn't. The foil is convincing, but what it doesn't say is the conversation the dairy industry has been hoping you never start, and you just started it tonight. If you liked this video, don't forget to subscribe and click the next video on your screen for another breakdown on the everyday foods your family is eating right now.